Adrian Peterson built a career on power and precision. One of the most feared running backs in NFL history, a Hall of Fame name who defined a generation. But this week, that name hit headlines for something darker. Arrested in Sugar Land, Texas, Peterson faces charges for DWI and unlawful weapon possession. TMZ dropped the mugshot, and the image hit like a gut punch. The same face that once carried teams now caught in the glare of police lights. It's the kind of fall that shocks even the most desensitized sports fans. Peterson wasn't supposed to end up here. After years of rebuilding his public image through comeback stories and charity appearances, this arrest slammed the brakes on everything. Reports claim he was found asleep at the wheel, alone, just before dawn. The kind of scene that feels pulled straight from a cautionary tale. But that's not all. What started as a DWI arrest quickly spiraled into a story layered with tension, confusion, and whispers from inside Houston's nightlife circle. There's talk of poker, late-night drinking, and a weapon found where it shouldn't have been. What really went down that night? And how did one of the NFL's most iconic players end up here again? It started just after 3 a.m. Police in Sugar Land spotted a black SUV idling at an intersection, engine still running, brake lights glowing. Inside, Adrian Peterson, motionless, head tilted back, reportedly asleep at the wheel. According to officers, he looked disoriented when they knocked on the window. One witness told TMZ it took a few tries before he even reacted. The detail that turned a minor stop into a viral spectacle? The dashcam footage now floating through social media, showing the moment an NFL legend looked like he'd lost control of everything but the steering wheel. When police asked if he'd been drinking, Peterson allegedly admitted to having a few drinks earlier that night. Field sobriety tests followed, and that's where things went south. Officers described his coordination as unsteady and inconsistent. Within minutes, he was cuffed and booked for DWI. What should have been a quiet night in the suburbs turned into front-page chaos. Then came the mugshot, the image that froze the story in time. No rage, no sadness, just exhaustion. A look that said the headlines were already writing themselves. Fans on X, formerly Twitter, began sharing old game clips next to the arrest photo. One post summed it up best. From breaking tackles to breaking headlines. But the strangest part isn't what happened after he was stopped. It's where he came from, and what kind of night led him there. Hours before that arrest, Peterson wasn't behind the wheel. He was at a poker table. Reports claim he attended a late-night poker gathering at a private Houston home, described by insiders as half social, half competitive. Sources told TMZ the crowd included a few local athletes and influencers, a scene dripping with luxury, top-shelf drinks, designer fits, and five-figure hands in play. That's where things reportedly got loose. Witnesses said Peterson was in good spirits early on, laughing and sipping from a glass of cognac. But as the night stretched, the mood shifted. Some guests allegedly noticed him looking tired but trying to keep up. Rumors suggest that the stakes were climbing and emotions were running high, not just over money, but also over pride. One guest claimed the energy turned tense as certain players began betting heavily. By the time the game broke up, it was past 2 a.m. Eyewitness chatter hints that Peterson left alone, insisting he was fine to drive. Nobody thought much of it, until news broke hours later that he'd been found passed out in traffic. That's when the whispers started linking the poker night to the arrest. Fans online ran with the narrative. Threads exploded with theories. Was it a celebrity poker binge gone wrong? Did someone in that room tip off TMZ? Nothing confirmed, but the pattern felt too tight to ignore. The timeline lined up almost perfectly: cards, drinks, then cuffs. But that's not the only thing that caught attention. The police report had one more twist buried in the details, something about a weapon in the car. When officers searched Peterson's vehicle, they reportedly discovered a handgun tucked near the center console. Not unusual for Texas, where firearm ownership is common, but the problem was timing. Under state law, carrying while intoxicated crosses into criminal territory. That single detail turned a DWI into something heavier: unlawful carrying of a weapon. Police documents list the firearm as secured but accessible. No indication it was brandished, no evidence of threat, just bad optics stacked on top of an already bad night. TMZ confirmed both charges after cross-referencing booking data from Fort Bend County. The arrest record reads like a checklist of mistakes. Ignition on, bloodshot eyes, odor of alcohol, and now a weapon inside reach. Online reaction was instant. Some fans argued he was just exercising his right to carry. Others called it reckless. Comment sections flooded with speculation. Was it registered? Was it loaded? Was he protecting himself? None of those answers have surfaced yet, and Peterson's legal team hasn't said a word. What's clearer is how fast narratives turn. One night, a poker game, the next, a gun charge. For someone who once embodied discipline and control, the symbolism wrote itself. The man who bulldozed through defensive lines now found himself tripped up by his own decisions. But while legal questions piled up, the internet was already focused on something else. The image that defined the entire mess. That mugshot. The mugshot dropped first thing in the morning, and within minutes, it was everywhere. TMZ posted it, and the internet detonated. The photo wasn't dramatic, no tears or rage, just blank exhaustion. That look became the headline. Fans started stitching it beside highlight reels, calling it the face of downfall. One viral tweet said, "All day turned into one bad night." It hit millions of views within hours. Then came the debates. Half the comments were jokes, the other half disappointment. Some fans defended him. He's human, he slipped. Others dragged him through the mud, resurfacing old controversies and questioning his second chance narrative. Sports blogs, meme pages, and gossip accounts recycled the same frame. His eyes half open, his legacy half gone. The mugshot also reignited talk about an athlete's image versus reality. Peterson had spent years reshaping his public persona. Polished suits, clean interviews, charity events. But this one image undid it all in a scroll's worth of time. People don't read reports, they share photos. That's how reputations collapse now. Not in courtrooms, but in comment sections. By midday, hashtags were trending. Hashtag Adrian Peterson mugshot. Hashtag all day downfall. Even his old teammates were caught in the wave, liking and unliking posts before reporters could screenshot them. That's how you know the story hit a nerve deep. And while the internet tore the photo apart, his home life stayed quiet, too quiet. Behind the headlines, the silence from Peterson's circle said everything. His wife, Ashley, stayed offline for days. No statements, no posts, just a digital blackout. Fans noticed she'd briefly unfollowed him on Instagram before quietly refollowing, though that detail remains unverified. Still, it fueled the speculation that things at home weren't stable long before the arrest. Family tension isn't new territory for Peterson, but this time the fallout hit different. His brand has leaned heavily on image rehab. The family man, the disciplined father, the redemption arc. Now, sponsors and PR handlers are reportedly freezing campaigns and reviewing commitments. In that world, silence isn't peace, it's panic control. Observers point out how his Instagram feed, once packed with motivational quotes and training clips, suddenly stalled. No uploads, no engagement. That's a tell. His team is likely in crisis mode, cleaning up mentions and preparing a carefully worded statement for when the outrage cycle cools. Meanwhile, fans dissect every move. A liked post here, a deleted story there. Every pixel becomes proof. It's the cost of modern fame. Your private life becomes a live feed the moment things go wrong. And when a Hall of Fame name stumbles, the audience doesn't blink. It refreshes. But the silence from his camp isn't the only thing raising eyebrows. The league itself, the institution that made him a legend, hasn't said a word either. The NFL stayed quiet, officially at least. No press release, no disciplinary talk. Peterson's been retired for years, so technically he's out of their jurisdiction. But that didn't stop the shadow of the league from creeping into the conversation. Analysts on ESPN and FS1 couldn't resist connecting dots, calling it another legacy under review. Ex-teammates dodged the topic. One gave a clipped no comment when asked. Another said, "Hope he gets the help he needs," which is athlete code for distance. Behind closed doors, insiders claim PR departments across several franchises circulated memos reminding active players to avoid nightlife exposure. A subtle nod that Peterson's mistake had already become a teaching slide. For fans, it reopened a familiar debate. How much weight should personal behavior carry in defining greatness? Some still argue his stats make him untouchable. Others say every new headline chips away at his Hall of Fame aura. The timing didn't help either. The arrest came just as media chatter around potential Hall induction resurfaced. Now that narrative's tainted. There's also fatigue. Peterson's career has been a pendulum. Greatness, scandal, comeback, repeat. Each time he rebuilds, another storm hits. Commentators call it pattern exhaustion, where even redemption stories start to sound like reruns. The uncomfortable truth. The NFL doesn't erase legends, it outgrows them. And when a star slips outside the field, the machine just moves on. But this story doesn't end with league silence. It ends where it began. A single night, a few drinks, and a poker table that turned into a police stop. The night started with laughter and cards. It ended with flashing lights and cuffs. One of football's fiercest runners, Adrian Peterson, is now reduced to a viral mugshot, a cautionary snapshot of how quickly control slips away. Fame never shields anyone from bad timing or worse choices. Insiders claim his team is already mapping an image rehab plan. The same formula every fallen athlete follows. Apology video, legal cooperation, quiet months, then a comeback podcast. But this time feels different. The audience isn't buying redemption arcs the way they used to. The mugshot became the story, not the mistake. What stings most is the symmetry. A man once known for powering through every obstacle now stalls at a red light, trapped in his own decisions. From poker chips to police clips, it's a clean arc of downfall, the kind you can't script, only survive. And in the silence that follows, one truth stays loud. The game off-field is always the one that breaks you. And that's the twist nobody saw coming. Adrian Peterson, from poker nights to police lights. The story's still unfolding, and you know Control Plus style never misses the next update. So hit that subscribe, drop a like, and share this video, because the next scandal's already loading.